Let's call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Here.
Gustafson,
Here.
Perry,
Here.
J.R. Smith,
Here.
Brabner, Mayor.
I am here. Our invocation and pledge will be led by our city attorney, Mr. David Connor. If you'll please rise.
Father, we thank you for everything that you give us, and we thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight, and I thank you for every person that serves on this council and this city. And Father, I ask that you give them wisdom to make decisions that are right. And Father, we're thankful that you're a God of second chances, that you're a God that gives us opportunities, that we always have hope as long as there's tomorrow. And Father, with this new year, every new year gives us an opportunity to start again, to start afresh. And Father, I ask that you bless each person that's here, bless the citizens of this city, so that we'll bring glory and honor to you in everything that we do. And we thank you for those people that protect our freedoms. And Father, we just thank you for the many blessings that you bestow upon every one of us. And we thank you for loving us. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. I ask for the approval of minutes of the previous meeting, work session, December 19, 2022, and the regular meeting, December 19, 2022. Are there any corrections? If not, the stand approved as written. Committee reports of committees and officers. Ms. Gaines?
No report.
Mr. Connor?
No further reports, Mayor.
Chief Barber? Chief Few? Mr. Tucker? Good reports. Thank you all very much. Open up the floor for public participation. If either one of you gentlemen, Mr. Cooper, Mr. Russo, have anything you'd like to say, please come forward. Tell us your name and address, and we'll recognize you. So, hearing none, we'll move forward. Under announcements, Congressman Jerry Curl recently sent out a survey to Spanish Fort residents asking for the feedback about our postal service. Please check your email inbox and fill out that survey. If you did not receive a survey, please send your comments to jerry.curl@mail.house.gov. It's important that Congressman and his staff receive your feedback. We also have hard copies here at City Hall. If you will fill those out, we will get them to Congressman Curl. Quick updates on that. There's been over 400 comments that have been sent to Congressman Curl, who has forwarded them to the Postal Service. That was done either beginning of December or the end of November, and we're waiting for the official response from the U.S. Postal Service on that, but let's keep the pressure on. I think we can get something done. Let's just please keep going after it. Let them know if you got a problem. So please fill out that survey. Christmas tree recycling will be available at Fire Station Number 1, located at 7580 Spanish Fort Boulevard. Roll-off dumpster with placement of trees will be located on the east side of the property beginning December 19th and be placed through January 13th, 2023. The City of Spanish Fort and the Spanish Fort Public Library will be closed Monday, January 16th. For Martin Luther King Jr. Day. The City Council meeting and work session, which would normally be held on Monday the 16th, will be held on Tuesday, January 17th. Work session begins at excuse me, at 4:30, and the City Council will follow at 6 p.m. There is no old business. On the new business, we have a public hearing on ordinance number 615, 2023. An ordinance amending ordinance number 5196 of the City of Spanish Fort, Alabama, changing zoning classification of certain property located at 30255 Broken Branch Circle, Spanish Fort, Alabama, from R1 to B3. David?
Mayor, this property was annexed into the corporate limits of the City of Spanish Fort in the last local legislative act. It's 32055 Broken Branch Circle. It is legally described as Lot 12 Woodside Business Park. This is out Highway 31 toward the easternmost corporate limits of the city. The property owner has requested that the property be rezoned from R1 single-family low-density residential district to B3 general business district. The Planning Commission held a public hearing on December 12 and forwards a positive recommendation for this rezoning request.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Any discussion from the council? We will open up the public hearing. I ask if you please give us your name and address for the public hearing. Public hearing is now open. Public hearing is now closed. Any discussion from the council? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve ordinance 615-2023.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith.
Yes.
Brabner. Mayor.
Yes, the ordinance is adopted. I'd like to present ordinance number 616, 2023. We'll have a public hearing on this also. An ordinance amending ordinance number 5196 of the city of Spanish Fort, Alabama, changing the zoning classification for certain property located at 30362 Highway 181, Spanish Fort, Alabama, from R1 to B3. David?
This property was annexed into the corporate limits of the city several years ago under a local legislative act, and it came in as R1. The property is located adjacent to the Eastern Shore Center and basically is occupied by a strip center, which includes Starbucks, Verizon, and some other uses in that area. The property owners requested that the property be rezoned from R1 to B3 General Business District. The Planning Commission forwards a positive recommendation for this rezoning request.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Discussion from the council? Hearing none, I'll open up the public hearing. Seeing no one dashing to the microphone, I'll close that public hearing. Discussion from the council? Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve ordinance 616-2023.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Here.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner. Mayor.
Yes, ordinance is adopted. We'll have a public hearing on ordinance number 617, 2023, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5196 of the city of Spanish Fort, establishing the zoning classification of certain property as B3 General Business District. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, there are several pieces of property in the area, this general area, that are owned by the Cometti family. Two of their parcels were annexed into the corporate limits of the city of Spanish Fort in the last local legislative act. They've requested that additional property be annexed in and have requested that it be pre-zoned. This is the first parcel of property. It's located in that area, and it is 7.64 acres. The Planning Commission forwards a positive recommendation for this request to zone to B3.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council? I'll open up the public hearing. Public hearing is now open. Public hearing is now closed. Discussion from the council? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve ordinance number 617-2023.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner. Mayor.
Yes, the ordinance is adopted. We have a public hearing on ordinance number 618, 2023, and an ordinance amending ordinance number 5196 of the city of Spanish Fort, establishing the zoning classification of certain property as B3 General Business District. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this piece of property is also owned by members of the Cometti family. It's .76 acres, I believe, 71 acres of property located in that same general area. And to give a little further description, this property is located east of the Mavis Tires and an adjoining property owner in that area. It's also located east of Stagecoach Circle Park, Stagecoach Commercial Park Circle, and it's located west of CVS properties and some of those other commercial properties, all on the north side of US Highway 31. They requested that the property be rezoned from B3 to B3, and the Planning Commission forwards a positive recommendation to establish that pre-zoning for that property.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion? I'll open up the public hearing. We will close the public hearing. Any further discussion? Do I have a motion?
Motion to adopt ordinance 618-2023.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Yeah. Y'all excuse us, Becky and I have been fighting this and passing around the office for the last 2 weeks. I started it all, it's my fault, but we'll get there eventually. The ordinance is adopted. Moving to ordinance number 619, 2023, ordinance amending ordinance number 5196 of the City of Spanish Fort, establishing the zoning classification, certain property as B3 General Business District. We have a public hearing on this one tonight also. Mr. Connor?
In accordance with Alabama Code Section 11-52-85, Kimberly Manley Committee has asked that the property be pre-zoned to B3 prior to annexation, and this piece of property is located on the northern side of these collections of properties and is approximately 4 acres.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion on this item?
Give me 1 second. Was this the one that we were gonna remove that?
David, is this the one we're removing
We,
the exception?
I had made a requested change, but we determined that leaving it like it was appropriate, so that less than accept language is taken back out.
Okay.
And it's being approved as it was noticed and as it was introduced at the last meeting.
Thank you for the clarity. That's what.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any further discussion? I'll open up the public hearing. Seeing no one moving forward, we'll close the public hearing. Discussion? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to adopt ordinance 619-2023.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Yes, the ordinance is adopted. We have a public hearing on ordinance number 620, 2023, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5196 of the City of Spanish Fort, establishing the zoning classification of certain property as B3 General Business District. Mr. Connor.
This property is owned, Mayor, by Kimberly F. Pitts Manley. It's in the northwest corner of this collection of properties owned by the Cometti family. She's requesting that this 1 acre parcel be rezoned to B3. The Planning Commission forwards a positive recommendation for that rezoning request.
Discussion from the council. I'll open up the public hearing. Public hearing is now closed. Further discussion? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve ordinance number 620-2023. Well, excuse me, we're on 6?
Yes, you're
Yes,
right.
620, yes.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith.
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Yes, the ordinance is adopted. We'll also have a public hearing on ordinance number 621, 2023, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5196 of the City of Spanish Fort, changing the zoning classification of certain property described as tax parcel 05-32-05-22-0-000-080.009. Do we have to read all these numbers like that? Thank you. And I'm not going to read the next one. Located at 9815 Spanish Fort Boulevard, Spanish Fort, Alabama, R1 from B3. I can remember when I was chairman of the, vice chairman of the Planning Commission, they made me read all those numbers, and I read zeros as O, and I was told you couldn't do that. It had to be a 0 or an O. Golly, that's been 20 years ago now.
It's been a while.
David, tell us all about this.
So these two parcels, we identify them by tax parcel number, and we also have an address of 9815, but they're more particularly described in the legal descriptions that are attached to Exhibit 1. These two parcels are also owned by members of the Cometti family, but they were annexed into the corporate limits of the city already under the last local legislative act, and they're requesting that those properties be rezoned to B3.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council. I'll open up the public hearing. Public hearing is now closed. Further discussion? Do I have a motion?
I move we approve ordinance 621-2023.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Yes, the ordinance is adopted. We'll have a public hearing on ordinance number 622, 2023, an ordinance amending ordinance number 5196 of the City of Spanish Fort, establishing the zoning classification of certain property as B3 General Business District. Mr. Connor.
This piece of property is also owned by a member of the, hold just 1 second. It's also owned by a member of the Committee family. Perry A. Lee owns this piece of property. It's 2.02 acres that's located in that same general area. They're requesting that this property be pre-zoned B3, and because this property is not contiguous at the moment to the corporate limits of the city, we will bring an annexation ordinance and petition back to the city council at the next meeting after you annex these other parcels in, if you do that.
Well, this is just to establish the zoning, not the annexation. So we move forward with this one.
You'll move forward with this
Okay.
one, and at next
You had
meeting,
me
I'm
confused.
sorry,
Okay.
next meeting, you'll have an annexation ordinance that accompanies that.
Okay, any discussion from the council? We have a public hearing. Public hearing is now open. Public hearing is now closed. Any discussion? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion, we approve ordinance number 622-2023.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
J.R. Smith.
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Yes, the ordinance is adopted. I'd like to present ordinance number 623, 2023, an ordinance annexing certain property of the corporate limits of the City of Spanish Fort, Alabama. Mr. Connor?
Mayor Carroll E. Committee Jr. requested that this property be pre-zoned to B3. Attached is an annexation petition requesting that this property be annexed into the corporate limits of the City of Spanish Fort. Attached to the petition is a legal description of the property and a map of the subject property showing its relationship to the corporate limits of the city. If you approve this annexation, the property will automatically be annexed to B3 upon its entry into the corporate limits of the city.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council? Do I have a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt ordinance 623, 2023.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith.
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Yes, the ordinance is adopted. I'd like to present ordinance number 624, 2023, an ordinance that's annexing certain property into the corporate limits of the City of Spanish Fort. David?
Mayor Perry A. Lee and Royce Lee have filed an annexation petition requesting that the city annex certain property into the corporate limits of the City of Spanish Fort. A copy of the legal description of the property is attached as Exhibit A. It's approximately .71 acres. A map showing the relationship of the property to the corporate limits of the city is attached as Exhibit B. You have previously pre-zoned this property as B3, so upon annexation, it will be zoned B3 under the city's zoning ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council? Do I have a motion to adopt?
Make a motion to adopt ordinance number 624-2023.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry.
Yes.
J.R. Smith.
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Yes, the ordinance is adopted. I'd like to present ordinance number 625, 2023, ordinance annexing certain property into the corporate limits of the City of Spanish Fort. I believe this one will be on hold, David?
Yes, sir. At the work session we discussed, we found one little error that we need to correct in the legal description on this property. And so I suggest that the City Council postpone action on this item to the next meeting.
Thank you. Any discussion from the council? As Mr. Connor mentioned, this will be on your January 17th agenda. I'd like to present ordinance number 626, 2023, ordinance annexing certain property into the corporate limits of the City of Spanish Fort, Alabama. David?
Mayor, this property is owned by Kimberly F. Pitts. Annexation petition has been filed requesting that this property be annexed into the corporate limits of the City of Spanish Fort. It's approximately 1 acre. You have previously pre-zoned this property as B3, so if you annex this property in the corporate limits of the city. It will be Zone B3 in accordance with the city's zoning ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion, we approve ordinance number 626-2023.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith.
Yes.
Brabner. Mayor.
Yes, the ordinance is adopted. I'd like to present ordinance number 627, 2023, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement for a non-exclusive franchise granted to Waste Pro of Alabama, Inc. for the purpose of providing collection and disposal of residential refuge within the city of Spanish Fort, Alabama. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, the City Council has previously granted a franchise to Waste Pro of Alabama for the purpose of providing collection and disposal of residential refuge within the city. That agreement expires December 31, 2022. The contract and contract documents executed between the parties allows for the parties to agree upon an extension, and this would extend the contract for a period of 1 year, ending on December 31, 2023. Attached is a proposed amendment to be executed by the mayor. The only changes in the documents that were previously approved is that the present contract is for service at $16.58 per month. Based on increased cost of service, gas, everything that's gone up, they have requested that the rate be increased from $16.58 per month to $18.95 per month. In addition, due to issues regarding recycling markets, providers that are able to accept that, and the amount of volume that's created by the city of Spanish Fort, which is really fairly light, they have requested to discontinue recycling at this time, and this would allow them to discontinue recycling, but the city will reserve the right to reinstate recycling if Baldwin County Solid Waste establishes a recycling program as has been discussed in the work session. The mayor's been in discussion, and there may become a program that's available through Baldwin County Solid Waste.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. As Mr. Connor mentioned, this is an extension of a contract. I believe Waste Pro has done a very, very admirable job for our city. Listen, we all have problems, but the way they approach when they have a problem is what makes them a little special. In my opinion, they get right after it and take care of the issue. They're very open with the people. They respond to everyone. You're always going to have hiccups in that business. There's no way you're not, but it's the way you handle the problems. You know, as far as the recycling is concerned, is it something I would love to see us do? Yes, but unfortunately, there's 161 customers in the city of Spanish Fort that take advantage of the recycling program. There's not enough volume to create the need that is warranted to do a successful recycling program. There are some opportunities perhaps coming from American Rescue Plan funds for the county, where they're talking about doing a recycling facility within our county, which will be a great thing. I think it's needed. I think we all agree that it's needed. But unless everybody gets on board, recycling is not going to work. We will still have the recycling areas at the kids' park up there to take advantage of. There's also some at Five Rivers you can take advantage of. But under this current contract, the recycling program curbside will go away. Discussion from the council?
I want to add that, we did discuss Waste Pro doing an informative letter sent out to the constituents because of the way the billing increases are being handled. Mayor Brabner brought up a very good point, that this is going to be a surprise because those increases are not reflected on your first quarter bill. So therefore, they will come up on your second quarter bill along with the increases for first quarter. So yeah, they have agreed to do that, and so I think that's very good as far as informing the citizens.
I will have conversations with the Waste Pro folks. I feel like I probably can convince them that the first quarter will be at the old rates, second quarter with the new billings will be at the new rates. I can't guarantee that, but I'm certainly going to push for that. Okay? Any further discussion? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to adopt ordinance 627-2023.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Yes, the ordinance is adopted. I'd like to present ordinance number 1271, 2022, a resolution authorizing the mayor of the city of Spanish Fort to enter into an agreement for the acquisition of certain real property located within the corporate limits of the city of Spanish Fort. I know this is going to be on hold too, but Mr. Connor, you want to expand on that a little bit?
Yes, Mayor, this is the discussions that we've been having with the development team at Cypress Equities. We have submitted our revised contracting comments with them, but they have several departments and layers that have to sign off on this, and because of the holidays, they have requested additional time to respond to our request for changes. And so I suggest we postpone this item to the next meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion from the council? This will be on your 17th of January agenda. I'd like to present Resolution 1289, 2023, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement between the city of Spanish Fort and Avenue Insights and Analytics for tax collection services. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, at our last meeting, we introduced this resolution to approve of a sales and use tax and business license discovery and administration on behalf of the city by Avenue Insights and Analytics LLC. We have included some proposed changes that we want to make to the contract, but once again, due to the holidays, they've asked for additional time to respond to this item, so we suggest that we postpone this to the next meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion from the council? This also will be on your January 17th agenda. Moving to Resolution 1290, 2023, a resolution establishing paid holidays for eligible city employees and staff for the 2023 calendar year. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this is a proposed resolution setting the days for this upcoming calendar year for all paid holidays for city employees. The personnel manual establishes which days are observed, and this annually sets which days of the specific calendar year are observed for each holiday.
I'm looking at this, and on Christmas Eve, it says the holiday's December 25th. And Christmas Day, it says December 26th. It seems a little weird to say it's Christmas Eve on December 25th. But I understand the logic of the holiday. I wouldn't.
I have a question, actually on L. I'm struggling with the wording there, 2 8-hour personal days in lieu of the 2 8-hour personal days. Help me out. All 24.
Yeah, you gotta read the rest of it. It goes with it.
Yeah, every employee of the city, with the exception of 24-hour firefighters, receive 2 8-hour personal shift days. Because of the number of hours that the firefighters work, they, under their plan, are entitled to 6 Kelly days. So they don't get the 2 personal days plus the 6, they just get the 6 Kelly days.
Thank you.
It's that country club y'all running around here, just giving everybody days off left and right, Kelly days, and I'm sure there's gonna be something, police gonna want some kind of day, keep up with the fire department, so. Anyway, got off base here, I'm sorry. Which damn resolution was this? 1290. We've had so many on the agenda tonight, I've sort of lost track where we are. Any discussion on 1290, 2023? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve resolution number 1290-2023.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith.
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Yes, the resolution is adopted. I'd like to present Resolution 1291, 2023, a resolution awarding a bid for resurfacing various streets within the city of Spanish Fort, Alabama. Mr. Connor.
Mayor, this proposed resolution would authorize and accept the lowest responsible bid for resurfacing General Canby Loop and Wildflower Trail, which was submitted by Bay Area Contracting, Inc. in the amount of $232,371. A copy of the proposed a contract is attached as an exhibit based on their bid dated December 7, 2022.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council?
I'd like to point out that the construction days of 60 days for substantial completion.
That would be 60 working days, not 60 calendar
Yes.
days, to make sure everybody is aware, and that you have to discount rain days and and holidays and weekends and Kelly days and whatever the hell else you got.
Absolutely. Just giving somebody an idea of what the estimated completion on that one is.
Yeah, don't ever count on 60 days, let me assure you that right up front. Discussion on 12/91/2023. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve Resolution 1291-2023.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Crabner, Mayor.
Yes, the resolution is adopted. I'd like to present Resolution 1292/2023, a resolution authorizing the mayor to issue a request for proposals for investment banking firms to act as an underwriter and to take other actions with respect to issuance of the city general obligation warrants, Series 2023, and to provide for reimbursement of certain costs and expenses. Mr. Connor.
Mayor, as discussed at the previous meeting and in the work session, the city council, mayor, administration have been looking into the future to try and meet demands for city services and amenities going forward. It is proposed that the city issue bonds for the purpose of constructing planning, design, and construction of a fire station number 1 to replace the existing fire station, public parks and recreation expansion, maintenance and improvements, storage facilities, a dog park, master planning for facilities and parks, and any other, all of the costs associated therewith related to the cost of issuance in an amount not to exceed $15 million. In addition, some of these projects are ready to begin shortly, and this would establish a reimbursement authorization so that when the bonds are funded, monies expended out of the city's general fund in the short term could be reimbursed related to the construction of those items. This does not obligate the city to borrow a dollar. What it does authorize is the mayor to go out and seek requests for proposals from underwriting agencies or groups to assist with the issuance of the bonds, prepare preliminary offering statements and agreements regarding the bond issue to be presented to the city council at a later date.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Discussion from the council?
Just comment, one or two comments. First, thank you, Mayor and Ms. Gaines also for offering to do this. This is going to be good, and it's just cool to be able to see. I mean, it's a lot of money, but my goodness, it's kind of great thinking back over the years, the things we've had to say, we can't do that yet, we can't do it. But to think that we'll be able to do some things potentially in the future, like a dog park or pickleball courts. I mean, things that people have asked for a lot, not to mention a new fire station. Just really good stuff, and it's just nice that, you know, we could potentially be able to put ourselves in a spot where we can say yes to some things. So thank you so much.
And to go along with what Kurt said, also to come up with a master plan for on our newly acquired property that Governor Ivany was so helpful in getting us in the city, which would be a gorgeous piece of property to add some recreation for everyone.
I personally think that, you know, the dog park idea, bringing our junior city council in is a brilliant idea to have them really take a part and take ownership in their community as well. And in a dog park, you know, everybody loves dogs. So I think that's an excellent project to have them jump into. So I'm looking forward to diving deeper into that.
I'll voice in a little bit here. You know, the city has been very fortunate in our finances. I think this council and previous councils have done a very good job in being fiscally conservative, moving forward. as evidence in all of our audits in the past years of being good stewards of the money. We didn't spend money we didn't have. This is a little bit different from what we've done in the past. The city of Spanish Fort, we've been very fortunate, as I mentioned, we only have 2 long-term debts at this point on our books. One is the Eastern Shore Center, of which we owe right around $2 million in that property. We generate $1.2 million a year on that property to pay off that note. We also, as council, have been very frugal in the fact that we do have $1 million of cash reserve for the Eastern Shore Center. So in theory, we could pay that off this year if we wanted to do so. The only other long-term debt we have is our house note, and we chose to take a 15-year house note at a 2.28% interest rate, of which we're 8 years into it. So we're moving at a good clip, and I'll commend this council because this facility, while, and I like to brag on y'all a little bit, it's a $7.9 million facility, and we brought it in $500,000 below budget. So you did a very good job with that. We're 8 years into a house note, which we all recognize house notes, and that's not a bad debt. You know, you have to move forward as a city. Our responsibilities, of which Chief Few has reminded me time and time again, is health, safety, welfare. That's what we're here to do. Our city's growing at such a clip that, you know, 48% in the last census growth. We've got to get ahead of the curve a little bit. Included in these numbers are a new fire station number 1, which will allow our firemen to, you know, have bunk beds and places for 24/7 coverage in our city, which we need. It will also do phase 2 for Integrity Park, which will include additional parking, which is sorely needed up there. Additional soccer fields, lighting for all of them, sidewalks and everything for connectivity to handle all that. It will also include, you know, Spirit Park, which we built in 2006. You know, it's hard to believe that that park is now 16 years old. It was tired. It needed a facelift. So we completely are redoing that. That's a project we started last month, and they made some good headway on that. You know, with the youth leagues that we have at Spirit Park, we needed to get ahead of the curve and start moving on that one right away. We have, as Councilmember Kurt Smith mentioned, we have an opportunity, in my opinion, which is a great opportunity to give the residents of Spanish Fort pickleball, which we've all have a lot of requests for that. But we're able to do it in a way that's, while it's not completely signed, still delivered, we're having the property given to us to build those courts. In addition, they're going to give us the splash pads at the town center. They're going to give us the playgrounds at the town center. They're going to give us the pavilion area with restroom facilities at the town center where we can build these pickleball courts. I tell you, that's a sweet deal. That is good for our city. Moving it forward that way. We have a need for some storage within our city. So we have some property on J Drive that the fire department acquired a long time ago, and part of the migration into the city, it became part of a city property. We're going to build a storage facility there that we desperately need to house some of our fire equipment and other things within our city. We've all been hit with the request for dog parks. Several years ago, I'm going to say probably 8-10 years ago, we bought that property on Huckleberry Lane adjacent to Spirit Park, 5 acres, pretty level, very wooded, a natural place to have a dog park. So we're going to call this Loyalty Park in reference to a dog, I guess. It's an opportunity to have something that our residents are requesting from us. We're gonna develop a master plan for Fire Station Number 4 on Doe Leaf Road. We got a little, fire station out there, but long-term, that facility, which I guess 4 years or so ago, 6 years ago, we bought that 20-acre parcel out there as a future fire station, which would also house long-term a training facility for our fire department. So we want to establish a master plan for Fire Station Number 4. As Councilmember J.R. Smith mentioned, the Cypress Point property, which we're now going to call Honor Park, that 144-acre parcel of land that the state acquired for our city for family-friendly recreation, picnic areas, walking trails, those kind of things. It will be $250,000 to establish a master plan on that to move it forward. Those are the highlights of this bond issue, and I'm very pleased. You know, do we like debt? No, but some debt is good, and we've got to get ahead of the curve, and this is what we have to do. This is a long-term plan for the city to move us, take us forward into the future. So that's my 2 cents on this one. Any other discussion on this item? Do I have a motion? Oh, I would like, because while it was introduced at the last meeting, we have had a change of values because of cost of issuance, and to be careful with all that. Originally, we talked about 14.3 million. Because we're talking about moving this to 15 million, I'd like to suspend the rules just because of the dollar figure, even though we have already introduced this item. So do I have a motion to suspend the rules for immediate consideration?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Yes. Do I have a motion to adopt?
Make a motion to adopt 1292-2023.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner,
Yes.
Mayor.
Yes, the resolution is adopted. Be prepared in the future. You'll have things coming at you with this. This is, as Mr. Connor mentioned, this gives us the green light to start moving forward to acquire proposals to move this forward. So thank you all for your consideration on that item. Moving to Resolution 1293, 2023, a resolution amending the personnel manual of the City of Spanish Fork. Mr. Connor.
Mayor, the city council recognizes the value of its employees and also the value that can come to an employee through improvement in education or applying for different jobs and the advancement in the city. If for this policy would allow for step increases in pay for those employees whose position doesn't require that particular position or education, if they seek to advance their education, a one-step increase for an associate's degree, for a person that gets a bachelor's degree after receiving an associate's degree, that additional one-step increase for a person that receives a bachelor's degree without having received a previous associate's degree, it would give them a two-step increase, and for those persons pursuing advanced degrees such as master's and so on, it would allow for a one-step increase within their pay grade as well. And this would encourage employees to seek their education if they just choose to do so, and reward them for that work.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion from the council? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to adopt Resolution 1293-2023.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Yes, the resolution is adopted. I'd like to present Resolution 1294, 2023, a resolution disposing of surplus property. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, in accordance with Alabama Code Section 11-43-56, the City Council has control over all municipal property and the authority to dispose of unneeded personal property. In Section 1 is a list of several items of office furniture and other equipment that is no longer needed for municipal purposes, and this authorizes the mayor and city clerk to dispose of those items.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. Any discussion from the council? May I have a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt Resolution 1294, 2023.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R. Smith,
Yes.
Brabner, Mayor.
Yes, I will take this opportunity to let you know that we will have an auction on these items and other items that we've surplused January the 21st at 9 a.m. at Integrity Park. Any other business come before the council tonight?
Yes. Y'all heard me get on my soapbox July 4th, and I'm climbing back on top of it today. Because if you were in Spanish Fort Estates on New Year's Eve night, you would have thought you were in Ukraine. The fireworks have gotten ridiculous. I hate, we talk about the fire and our police department about health, safety, and welfare, and we are hurting people by allowing these fireworks. It's no longer the sparklers and the firecrackers and the little Roman candles. There are things being shot off in neighborhoods that are bomb-like. And there are people that are cowering in their houses. These are adults, these are kids, these are animals, and it's not fair to them that somebody else's privilege that we've given them to shoot off fireworks is causing so many problems in households. I'm not sure this is something you're going to hear a lot about because people are afraid of retribution by standing up against the fireworks. But they have gotten ridiculous. And I challenge each of us to really think hard about it. Talk to your neighbors, talk to the people in your district, and see if they feel the same way. But I can tell you there's a lot of people in Spanish Fort Estates that are not happy.
I certainly heard a lot of loud explosions going on. There's no doubt that, I don't know if people's taking them to a new limit or there's some new super grade of fireworks. I don't know what's going on out there. There are people that do love to shoot their fireworks, so I would invite any of the council members or all the council members to canvass your people, your constituents in your districts. Ask their opinion. I'm not opposed to looking at that ordinance that we have in place. Maybe we need to refine. So if you have some thoughts, please bring them forward to Ms. Gaines or myself, and we'll look at them accordingly. Anything else coming before the council tonight? I commend the council. We had a tremendous agenda tonight. A lot of land was covered, and I cannot even believe that we've got that done in 45 minutes. So great job. I appreciate all your effort. Do I have a
Mayor,
motion?
for the record, we adopted 17 items tonight.
And also for the record, if anybody's watching, a few of you probably are, a lot of work, a lot of conversation does go into those items in work session. That's just so everybody will know, those are not things we take lightly, and while it may appear we just call a vote and vote yes or no, that there's a lot of consideration prior to the actual, the public meeting.
There's certainly never an item on the agenda that is not discussed in work session, and I invite the general public to please come to the work sessions. They start at 4:30 on the first and third Monday of every month, unless there's a holiday which makes us move to a Tuesday. So I would invite you, because that's, as Mr. Smith is saying, that's where a lot of things, where the rubber hits the road right there. That's when the pros and cons and heavy discussion of items. You know, it appears that we just sort of rubber stamp thing, but I can assure you it's not that way. And I know I'm preaching to the choir up here. Anything else anybody want to add? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.